Welcome, everyone. It is Tuesday, bright and early, depending if you're on the West or the East Coast. Maybe some of you are actually about to get your lunch. We have a special opportunity today to interview one of the coolest products I personally love. I know Steven's a huge fan as well, but the co-founder and CEO of 8 Sleep, Matteo. So for those of you who aren't familiar with 8 Sleep, the company is pioneering the concept of sleep fitness through cutting edge technology designed to help you sleep better, recover faster, and live healthier lives. I know my sleep life has completely changed. Their flagship product is the Pod. It combines thermoregulation, biometric tracking, and intelligent features to help optimize sleep quality, turning a mattress into personal sleep performance device. So I know for me, it's really helped my sleep. The first couple weeks, it's navigating, figuring out who you are, and next thing you know, Autopilot kicks on. But it's really just helped my sleep. And my wife has her own things that she can make and personalize. So it's not just one size fits all. It's literally, well, one size does fit all as far as you can split it between myself and my wife. But Matteo, how's it going? Welcome.
Welcome, Matteo.
All good. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, we are so excited to have you. I mean, the 8 Sleep for me has just been really just again, it's become, when I think of fitness, it's literally helped me with my sleep fitness. It's literally just helped me get all the sleep I need at night and it helps me perform even better in the day. But before we kind of, jump into all that, but we would love to hear from you. Just tell us a little bit about 8 Sleep and what y'all are doing over there right now. How are things going?
Things are going great. As you know, we are a technology company that develops products that improve your sleep. We sell in 35 countries, so we are fairly global, and we power the sleep of people like Elon Musk, is public, Mark Zuckerberg, Charles Leclerc, Formula One driver, Taylor Fritz, number 4 in the world as a male tennis player, and many other athletes from NFL, NBA. We have 200, 300 athletes and medalists sleeping on our product, and most of the CEOs in Silicon Valley and Wall Street.
Steven, to you.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Matteo, I'd love to learn a little bit just about your background as far as your professional history and how you ended up becoming co-founder, CEO of a company like 8 Sleep that is just really revolutionary. Like, how did you end up getting there from a professional history?
Yeah. So, I mean, first of all, when I was a teenager, I used to be an athlete. I was a tennis player. So I have always been in recovery and performance. And so around 10 years ago, I started wondering why Elon is taking me to Mars and I still spend a third of my life on a piece of dumb foam. How is possible there is technology everywhere? We are developing Neuralink, but I spent 30 years of my life with no technology, lying down in bed, pretending to wake up fully refreshed. And so that didn't make sense to me. I used to be a business lawyer a long time ago. Then I did 2 companies, and then I started A Sleep to really fix this problem. And so our dream is to become the Tesla of sleep.
Wow, that's that's incredible. I mean, yeah, it's interesting how one technology or one problem solving can really kind of inspire others to solve problems. And sleep, as we know, is just such a huge part of our lives. But how did you wind up like I guess like when you think of the problems that you're personally experiencing, I mean, you kind of mentioned it with sleep. What motivated you to like go even deeper? Like, why not just be like, oh, this is something that someone else will tackle? Obviously, the problem that Elon is tackling with Mars. And obviously even with, really full self-driving and AI and robotics. Like what made you actually be like, you know what? I want to put what I'm doing right now on the side for something as big as tackling such a big problem like this.
Yeah, I'm really obsessed about 2 things. One is performance, and one is longevity. I'm a sort of semi biohacker myself, so I do almost everything you can think of to try to be young, to be in good shape, and to live longer and extend my health span. And at the same time, I'm obsessed with performance. So I always want to be at my peak performance. And so if you think first principle, the foundational part of both of these 2 things is sleep. Meaning health is really based on three pillars. One is sleep, one is fitness, and one is nutrition. But at the end of the day, if you sleep 2 hours per day, you will start craving junk food and you will not have the energy to work out, or you just increase the risk of injuries. And so if you really streamline everything, you just need to nail sleep as a first thing and then take care of nutrition and fitness, and then everything else will just happen. And so when I saw this opportunity, I started wondering why no one is working on technologies for sleep improvement. Because
Totally.
an important thing is, if you go on the street right now and you look around, 100% of the people around you, they will have troubles to sleep at least once a week. So everyone needs our product. But then if you go to a mall, there is no store selling products for sleep improvement. You might find some bedding products, some dumb mattresses, but there is no one selling you products to improve your sleep. And that is what doesn't make sense to me. And that is what we want to fix.
Yeah, Matteo, were there any even personal reasons as far as like were you having trouble sleeping or snoring or whatever it might have been? What like a personal motivation on your end?
Yeah, I have what is called restless legs. And so you have this feeling usually after an hour or two after I fall asleep, you have this sort of cramps in your legs. You need to get out of bed, walk a little bit, and then you can go back to bed and sleep. And so my sleep was not good. I was not even taking care too much of my sleep. But when I almost had this period where I used to be an athlete, then I stopped being an athlete. I just work hard, 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 and then at a certain point around my 30s, I woke up again and I said, oh, I need to take care of my health again. And that is when I started looking into sleep, because I had a lot of sleep problems. And that is how I came up with the idea for 8 Sleep.
Yeah, that's incredible. Can you explain a little bit more? Because I think maybe sleep fitness is not something, you hear about, obviously, like working out and, getting into the gym, but sleep fitness is probably a new term for people. So can you explain why it's so important for health and performance?
Yeah, think almost in terms of active recovery. Probably, if you understand my personality, I'm a go high energy guy, and so I never liked the idea of a lazy Sunday with waffles in bed. And my perception has always been, okay, I sleep because it's part of my health, is an active recovery during which my body is fixing the muscles and readjusting all the informations collected during the day. And so I really think of going to sleep in the same way I think of going to the gym. You just need to be consistent. You go because it's something that is really important for your body, because a lot of physiological processes will happen, but it's not a moment of emptiness. Is actually your body doing a bunch of activities, and so you need to make sure that you give enough time to the body to complete those activities.
Yeah, yeah. We're going to talk about hardware and software in specifics in just a little bit here. But how would you kind of summarize? How does Eat Sleep ultimately help improve your sleep? How does it give you this new kind of category of sleep fitness?
Yeah, the biggest thing, and is the biggest difference compared to wearables, is that we track everything about your health with our sensors, but we don't stop there. We don't just report the data, which is what wearables do. Based on your data, we actually take actions. The most obvious are changing your body temperature during the night. We can change your temperature even 100 times per night based on sleep stages and a lot of different parameters. Then if you're snoring, we can also elevate your head, so you will stop snoring. And in general, in the morning, we come back to you with a lot of personalized insights to help you tackle the day. And so we really apply hardware, as you were saying, the most cutting edge technologies. Think of almost F1 technologies applied to a device for your sleep. And on top of that, we apply a layer of AI where our models look at all your biometrics, not even just our data, but even your Apple Health data or data we can collect from other sources. And then we tell you what is best for you and for your sleep.
Yeah, no, it's really I was just impressed with that, right? Because I think it was like a couple weeks. It's just asking you questions for the first couple weeks. It's like, hey, what inputs are working, what inputs aren't, and then from there, like from those first 2 weeks, there's been a couple times where I'm away, so I literally have to just turn it off, and that's really the only input that you're really giving it. But outside of that, it just goes. For those that maybe aren't familiar with like kind of the product portfolio, tell us a little bit about the products that are in market today.
Yeah, as you said earlier, the flagship product is the pod, which is a mattress cover that you can install on top of your mattress. So you don't have to change your mattress. You don't have to convince your partner to change the mattress that you like. You put this cover on top of it, it will not change the comfort. And what you will immediately get is, first, we will be able to track everything about your sleep and health. And so you can just open an app and see all your data and the insights. But the most important thing is that each side of the bed will have a different temperature. And so if you like it cold and your partner likes it warm, or the opposite, everything will be taken care of by our technology. And then during the night, based on your sleep stages and your biometrics, we will keep adjusting temperature for you to make sure that you get up to 30% better sleep. This is the flagship product. Then there are a bunch of accessories that are pretty cool. An accessory is a base that goes underneath the mattress. It connects to the pod. And when we see you're snoring, we elevate your head and you will stop from snoring. The other one is we develop a thermoregulated blanket that works with the pod. So at that point, you can have the temperature, the heating or cooling, whatever you like, both in your back and also on top of yourself. And this is how you get, again, up to 30% better sleep, deeper sleep, and more REM. And you can keep using your wearable, and you will just see all your metrics improving in your Aura, Whoop, or Apple Watch.
Yeah, and I want to share a little bit just before we hop into Autopilot. John and I both have 8 sleeps, and at first you go, okay, this does seem to be really improving my sleep. And a couple days more in, as it's adjusting and learning, you're like, okay, I actually feel more rejuvenated when I wake up. But one of the things I was most interested in seeing was, okay, sleeping on a setup that's not an 8 sleep after having been on one for weeks or months at a time, going to that switch and you wake up the next day, you're hot, you're sweaty, you're like groggy. And I'm not trying to like sell the product, but it's one of those things where, John and I both, Tesla owners, Tesla drivers, until you actually try out the product, and you guys do have even a cool leasing system we'll talk about later too, if remember, but just it's amazing, honestly, just how we've seen the benefits of actually using it and then switching to periods of not having it, and it's night and day.
Yeah, and they always say, butts and seats would sell Teslas, but I think that's very true for this. It's butts in bed literally will sell this product itself. Like for me, like I said, what Steven's saying, when I go to a hotel or when I have to sleep somewhere else, it's very noticeable, right? And I always also too, just with the fitness trackers, it always kind of gives you some indicators like, hey, you snored more, or maybe you had more REM sleep than you typically do, and then you actually get a rating. And so it's even a little bit competition between me and my wife on like who's getting the better sleep and stuff some nights. Not every night we can do that because sometimes we got kids and a lot going on, but it really is helpful to know how are you tracking, what are what are areas that you need for improvement, and that's just huge, right? I mean, again, as Matteo was saying earlier, right, 30% of our life is just sleeping, and so how do you maximize the most of it so that you are getting the best you the next day?
Yeah, and something, Matteo, that I was wondering was, people say, okay, if it's too hot, if it's too cold, just raise the air conditioning, make it hotter, whatever you need to do. But there is a difference, and I also want to talk about if you can help us understand the Autopilot system. Obviously, there's kind of a fun play on Tesla and things like that, but just help us understand, how is 8 Sleep using AI to improve your sleep?
Yeah, let's start with the bedroom temperature. So people sometimes say, "Oh, I sleep at 68 degree, and that is that the right temperature?" And the answer is no. And the reason is you need a different temperature based on your different sleep stages. First of all, so in deep sleep, you need a different temperature from REM in the first part of the night, a different temperature from the second part. And then temperature also changes based on what you ate. For example, if you had alcohol or your workout. If you train really late in the afternoon versus the morning, your body temperature will be different. And so it's very important to have access to all your biometrics and your data, and then adjust the temperature up to 100 times per night. And that is what we do. Then Autopilot is really the secret sauce. And now with AI, I would say in the past 6 months, is incredible what is happening and what customers like you will see. And so we are really working on two things. One is what we call an AI sleep agent. And so essentially you will have a PhD level sleep coach that will be able to look at your data and will be able to simulate your night before you even go to sleep. And so right now on the cloud, there are hundreds of Matteos. These are, we call them digital twins. And they're already simulating my night based on different policies and different behaviors. And they will be able to adjust once I fall asleep, also in real time, the policy of the night. And so the temperature I will use, the elevation that I will use, and so on. And then we are working on another core feature as part of Autopilot that we call the longevity twin. And so based on my biometrics, we are simulating Matteo 10 and 20 years down the line, my health. And we will be able to tell you, look, if you do this or you do that, this is how your biological age or the risk of developing a certain disease will change.
Wow, that's incredible. I mean, like for me, like what I love seeing too is, you expect like, oh, okay, it's gonna be +1 typically most nights, but as the room or out as it's like, let's say super hot, you see it cool down, and it's just like it's already even integrating the weather outside
Yep.
versus, let's say, even if you lived in an apartment where it's maybe just like in the middle of an apartment where it doesn't really deal with as much with the temperature, it's still making it knows what's going on outside and is able to make those adjustments. So that's huge. But yeah, that's really just incredible. I mean, I think, like I said, it's our health is really, our ultimate currency, right? It's what's going to keep us here. And without that, the rest kind of doesn't make anything else worth it, right? So it's just really, really important to do that. And with that, I mean, so, people can buy, let's say, people can buy a pod, but you talked a lot about autopilot. I mean, for me, it's kind of like buying a Tesla without full self-driving, right? I don't know if you can maybe unpack that a little bit more of just like the need for that autopilot, but it's really, for me, it's like it's kind of a no-brainer because it's really how you unlock the full capabilities of the pod, right? And the same thing with my Tesla. It's so important to have that full self-driving, especially sometimes when I go into work, it's 2.5 hours, right? And just to be able to have my truck drive me the whole way there, it's just a complete game changer. And so with autopilot, I can't really imagine having, my pod without it. But what is like the founder, the co-founder's kind of view on autopilot with the pod?
Two things, right? The first one is the core difference between us and when you are driving to work is that when you're asleep, you're also unconscious. And so you really need this intelligence to have your back because you're just lying down unconscious in bed. And someone can improve your sleep without you even noticing, except when you wake up in the morning fully refreshed. And so if you want that PhD level intelligence, having your back, learning from your habits, and learning from your data, that is what Autopilot is. And that is why it's so important. Because otherwise, yeah, you could just buy a basic hardware that you turn on and off, you set a fixed temperature, and it stays the same the whole night. You get some comfort, but you don't get an improvement in your sleep performance. And then I think our goal at Eight Sleep is always two things. On one side, we want to compress your sleep. So what if you could sleep only 6 hours and get more rest than when you were sleeping 8 hours because we maximize your performance. But second, we also want to save your life. And so with the example of the longevity twin is you really have, again, a PhD level expert behind the scene who is looking at your data and is able to give you directions about how to handle your life to live longer and to live a healthier life during the next 10 and 20 and 30 years.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where I've seen comments online and people will say, like I have to spend, X amount of dollars a month just to, pay this for this. And it's like, I don't understand it, but I think John brings up a good point, which is, again, it's one of those things you have to experience it where, okay, you have a Tesla, now you have autopilot. It's not just a Tesla anymore. It's this completely other, just dreamt of device. And same goes, like, I think you brought up a great point, Matteo, which is when you're sleeping, you're unconscious. There's some incredible things that are going on when you're sleeping and in many ways, but you're not able to actively make changes that are going to benefit you. And that's what ASleep is processing. And you brought up this other amazing idea as well, or that you're working on, which is this AI sleep agent. I don't know enough about AI. I know it's very energy intensive, and energy equals money. It seems like things have to get funded in that way. So there's good insight there too of, yeah, there's just a lot going on behind the scenes. It's not just changing the temperature a little bit. So much more going on.
At, at the end of the day, AI is helping us to do at scale what a sleep doctor or a health doctor would just do. And at the end of the day, this is much cheaper and much scalable. You pay a very small amount per each month, but you have someone, virtual or physical, taking care of you based on the latest data from all the most advanced clinical research and studies. And all this happens at your convenience because you can go to sleep whenever you want, and you will always be there 100% of the times, maximizing your time asleep.
Yeah, and there's something else I was thinking of too, is that there's some products out there. We're talking about products, talking about AI, and I don't want to get off track, but there's even things out there like BedJet, right? That's something that's going to help cool or heat you up. But as far as I know, there's no intelligence behind it. It's not actually an immersion of your skin being connected to something, but it's just like an amplified AC device or something like that. But how would you say that 8 Sleep is also differentiated from any other product that's out there in this kind of sleep fitness realm, besides already enough of what you just shared as well?
Yeah, well, compared to wearables that now probably are the companies with the closest, they are the closest to us in terms of DNA. The difference is we don't report data, only report data. We look at your data and take action for you. So we actually do the job for you to really improve your sleep. That's one. Then there are a few dumb devices out there, but they don't have your biometrics. And again, a fixed temperature during the night doesn't work. You need continuous adjustments based on what you did during the day and what is happening during the night. And it's really the difference between Tesla and General Motor. Yeah, they both can take you from point A to point B, but in one case you need to drive in a very manual way. There is no intelligence, there is no software. The car doesn't open automatically, doesn't close automatically. While instead Tesla is just this magical experience where there was a product team that really thought about you, they care about you, and through software magically do things for you.
Yeah, one thing that I thought was really cool, and then I'll hand it back to Stephen for a quick follow-up. But like, when you think of the most intense times in life, right? Whether it's like, so I think of like Twitter hell. I think of like, some of the stuff that, when Doge was getting kicked off earlier this year. And I know 8 Sleep, you guys sent like those beds, right? And it's like, it's because like if you're gonna sleep 4 or 5 hours, you want to make sure you're getting the absolute best sleep.
Yeah.
Because if you're even sleeping 4 or 5 hours, but so I just thought, you guys just did an amazing job. I do remember the whole Twitter hell and the 8 Sleep and just the pods being sent. And then I just thought it was hilarious when you guys were doing the one at Doge. But it makes sense, right? Because when you're going through these surges, I forgot what I'm trying to think of what Walter called it in his biography. I think it was surges. But like when Elon goes through these surges, he needs to continue to make sure he gets the best sleep. And what did you guys do here? Let's just drop a couple by the door and make sure you get the best sleep. And again, it's not and that's the difference here is that 8 Sleep will have you covered with it's like driving a car, right? Once you experience full self-driving in a Tesla, it's not going to make sense to go back to something else. And I unfortunately, good and bad, it's like it's really spoiled me. So it's like, when I go to these other places, it's not like I can bring my whole pod with me. I need like an extra suitcase for it. But it really does spoil you. But it's like it's one of those things too. Once you have Tesla with full self-driving, even if you do go buy, let's say, a BMW or Mercedes EQS, you're going to lose those amazing features and assets, right? But ultimately that's why people continue to stay with Tesla. But in this case, right, like why this pod is really a game changer for just sleep fitness and really how you'll get the most performance out of your sleep.
Yeah, and Matteo, we're around roughly halfway through, but I'm sure if anyone's been watching now, they probably have went over to 8 Sleep's website. They probably checked things out, and probably one of the first thoughts they had was, "Oh my gosh, that's a fairly expensive device, right?" But one of the things I found out recently is that you guys also offer kind of a leasing setup. If you could talk a little bit about that, and also the 30-day window. I believe there's a 30-day window for actually trying out the unit.
Yeah, let's start with this last point. So first of all, you get the device, you have 30 days, you can use it, try it, and if you don't like it, you can ship it back, and we will give you 100% of your money back. And so you should have peace of mind that if for any reason, if it's not for you, we'll take care of you. We don't see many returns, so people really love it, which is good for us. Then in terms of the different ways you can buy, there is one where you finance it, and so you just pay a monthly amount for the next 2-3 years. You can pick. We use different partners like a firm or equivalent. The other option we offer is also something we launched recently, which is a rent model, and you can just rent the pod. And a lot of people love it, particularly people that maybe they're still moving around, and so they don't know for how long they will be in a certain place, but they can't sleep without the pod, and so they end up renting it. We see a lot of students going for the rent model. And then you start with the rent, and then over time you can switch and buy the product. So it's at your discretion. And if you rent it, you can stop renting anytime.
Yeah, it's funny. I saw a comment. I don't know if it was on X or YouTube, wherever it was, but someone said, "Don't try this if you're not prepared to buy it, because once you try it, you're not gonna want to send it back." And it's very true. So just be warned if you're watching this and you want to try it.
The funny story is really that the most requested feature is a travel pod, because people, they can't travel anymore without the product.
Yeah.
Or they start struggling at night, because you go to an hotel, you can put the temperature at 68, 65, whatever. It's not going to be the same, because the air doesn't transfer temperature in the same way that being directly in contact with our product. And so whatever temperature you put in the air, it will never have anything close in terms of benefits.
Yeah, that was exactly, I think, what I mentioned, right? You get so spoiled that it's like just traveling. I mean, I'm still gonna travel because you gotta go to places, family vacations and things like that. You can't stop, but it really does set the bar high on the next place. So if you do come up with a travel one, definitely gotta buy our hair. And actually along those lines, right? I think, when you get the pod and and even the base and really just everything, right? I think the next question becomes like, have you guys ever thought about potentially even doing like a mattress at some point too, where it's like now it's like not only is it utilizing and looking at the way you sleep, but also you guys are creating comfort as well, right? Because that's also the other aspect of the bed too, which can thankfully, the 8 Sleep Pod really removes a lot of that pain, but it's just like, just even the comfort, the foam and all that stuff can also, that increasing could also potentially help as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the way we always think is, okay, what other features could we develop that will improve your sleep? And we try to disconnect from the current form factor, because I always go back to this famous quote from Henry Ford, where, okay, if I would have asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses, not cars. And so what I try to focus is, okay, what's the problem? And then I try to be very first principle in how we solve it. And I think most of the mattresses tend to be a scam. You don't need 10 inches of comfort. It's just they need to charge a certain amount. They want to make them bigger so they can justify that. But probably with 4 inches of foam, you will get almost the same comfort than with 10 inches of foam. And so to me is, okay, comfort is important because you feel it every night, but comfort becomes even more important when you change position, because the pressure points are very different. And so when you're on the side versus when you're sleeping on your back or on your belly is completely different. And so the job of 8 Sleep is to be able to identify your sleep position and apply AI to be able to dynamically adjust the comfort of a layer so you maximize your sleep performance. And so that is what you should expect coming from us.
Wow.
Not just a mattress for the sake of doing the mattress. We will deliver the same value in a more innovative way.
So are you able to detect sleep position today?
We're working on it.
Wow.
No,
That's
sorry.
that was like a Franz answer, John. We're like,
Exactly.
all right. So yeah, one of the other things that I wanted to bring up, it's funny, back when we were kind of first talking with some of the folks at Eight Sleep, I was saying, I just had a great idea that what if you guys can put some of your units in, fancy hotels around the world? And on X just recently, I want to make sure I get it right. It was the Santa Monica proper hotel. You guys actually have some units there for some suites. If you could just share a little bit about that.
Yeah. Actually, one of the recently went viral on TikTok, but we did a small partnership with Equinox in New York. Equinox has this amazing wellness fitness hotel in Manhattan, and so we install our units in some of their suites. And a video went viral because an influencer was sleeping there and then posted this video, and people started saying, oh, I have a sleep, I love it, oh, I love it too. And that is how it went viral. Our hotel strategy, it's something we will explore at some point. The key for us will be to partner with the best hotels that could be a perfect fit for our customers, because again, they want to sleep on an 8 sleep when they travel. And so I believe that there could be a win-win opportunity for us and a world-class hotel to provide the best sleep. Where we will want to be picky is to select a partner that really cares about sleep. Because if you go in a room where the light is off, the noise is off, there are all these details, even if it's a 5-star hotel, then wouldn't meet our bar. We want to make sure that wherever you go, because there is an 8 sleep, you know that we did the job of doing a due diligence on the quality of those rooms, and you go there to get the best sleep of your life.
Wow, that's crazy. It's a whole experience now. So I mean, it could be kind of like in the same way, right? It's like, I look for, a Tesla charger at the hotels that I sleep at, especially if I'm on the road. It's going to become one of those things. It's like I need to make sure there's an 8 sleep pod, right? I need to continue the good sleep. So that would be awesome, especially at scale. But as we know, right, like sleep is sacred, this and it's we do know 8 Sleep also has like a lot of technology built in, right? And in this day and era where data is just everywhere, how is 8 Sleep just tackling, privacy, safety, maybe even including EMF exposure concerns? Like, yeah, how do you guys handle all of that?
Well, in terms of data, everything connected to data, I think there is plenty of, I would say, market standard policies from great companies like Apple. And so you just follow I would say, the standards of these companies, and it's pretty well known and established. So there is nothing to innovate. It's almost like an audit in finance. You just know, work with the bank, and you're just world class. You just need to make sure that everything is taken care of, and we're doing that. On EMF, we ran a study, and we published a post on our blog where you can see all the data. You see there is no EMF risk. And so that's not the problem. We don't generate substantially any new wave, but we just connect to your Wi-Fi. So unless you live I would just say we just connect to whatever is in your house, and if you want to disconnect the Wi-Fi in your house, that's completely fine.
Yeah, the EMF question is an interesting one too, because anyone that's really looking to better their sleep, that's obviously they're very focused on health in general. So I think the fact that you guys have that study, that paper that's out there that puts people at ease, myself included, who I was a bit paranoid at first about, I'm like, all right, this isn't just something that's cooling me or heating me up. There is so much technology that's tied into this whole system. How can I sleep at night knowing that that it's a healthy process? And like you said, thank you guys for putting out that information too. Yeah, definitely very important. I'd like to also get, just as we start to wrap up here, getting into a little bit of the future of Eight Sleep. You did mention that there's some new products coming out. I don't know exactly what you can share, but if there's anything that talks about the future of Eight Sleep and what people can kind of look forward to, and maybe you could kind of say it in a encoded way of sorts.
Well, at a very high level, you should imagine that we want to take care of everything that can improve your sleep. And so there is a division that is consumer tech, which is what we already do today. Obviously, there will be new features, so sleep position and comfort. There will be full body scanning to make sure we can scan your body at night to save your life and identify early signs of certain health conditions. We will start playing with oxygen levels, and so it will be like sleeping in a altitude tent to maximize your hemoglobin and your red cells. So all these things are part of our roadmap. Then in parallel, we started working on a line of supplements with Dr. Peter Attia, who is, I would say, the king of longevity. We already launched a line. Then today, we will announce a jet lag supplement that we have developed with Peter Attia. And that is a game changer. I travel 250 days a year. Now I don't have jet lag anymore. You can take these 3 capsules wherever you fly. It will put you asleep. You wake up fully refreshed. And if you are an 8 Sleep user with the pod, in the app, we also give you a protocol of what to do, when to do, to really maximize your recovery. So let's say you fly to Abu Dhabi tomorrow, you will get a protocol that says what to do for the next 3 days, when to take our supplement, and you will be fresh and ready to go since your first day there.
Yeah, no, that's man, I'm thinking supplement. Yeah, and jet lag, right? You know, I went to Malaysia and Singapore this past year, and
And Italy.
Europe and Italy. Was just there. It was so beautiful. Just to visit the Vatican, the Colosseum in Venice. But like jet lag is always just one of those things that hard to overcome, right? You're always told, okay, just get to the normal like hour. So if you get there during the day, stay up to like 9.
Yeah.
But to be able to have something like that, to like a supplement, is going to be huge, right? So it's really interesting to see how, when I think of like the product portfolio of 8 Sleep, it's really just it's almost like it just could, there's so many different avenues you can go, and so it's awesome that y'all are branching out into different things. But when you think of like 5 years from now, not talking about the valuation of 8 Sleep, but really just like the impact, what do you think is like, what would be like a cool North Star? You said in 5 years, like we were able to get to this point. What would that look like for you?
I think the goal is to be a global iconic brand that is well recognized for high quality products and craftsmanship that powers the sleep of tens of millions of people. That's my goal. Then I think the score will take care of itself in terms of the company going public and the growth being making billions of dollars in revenue. But at the end of the day, what drives us is really helping tens of millions of people to get better sleep with the best and most beautiful and well thought of products out there, which is very similar to what Tesla has been able to achieve. Then with our portfolio strategy, we will expand. Our product right now is a premium product. Think of it as a Model S. Over time, you will see the Model 3 coming, the robotaxi. So all that applies to your health and sleep in the same way it applies to automotive.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I love it, because I think, and in some ways, right, what this does is like maybe even it's kind of that same mindset, right? And buying a pod now is kind of investing in the future and helping, like it's like that R&D. At least that's kind of like the way it was for Tesla. As people bought the Roadster and the Model S, it was really buying a car to help the research and development for the cheaper vehicles, right? So I love how you put that. But yeah, I think it's just, again, it's one of those things you kind of have to just you got to go try the pod, go lease it if that makes more sense for you. It's really just an absolute game changer. But yeah, Matteo, I just wanted to thank you so much for joining today. I also wanted to kind of throw it back to you if there was anything else maybe that you thought we missed that you wanted to mention, that maybe we could go a little bit deeper in. But yeah, I'll pass it back to you.
No, as I said at the beginning, we sell in 35 countries. So US is our largest market, but we are also Canada, Europe, UK, Australia, Middle East. We're going to launch in Singapore in a few months, and we are working on launching in China as well. And so wherever you are, if you need better sleep, take a look at us, 8sleep.com, 8 like the number, you just spell it out, and we'll do our best to improve your sleep performance.
Yeah, and it's definitely not just a pitch. I know myself, at least even in the conversations I've had with Steven, it's definitely significantly improved our sleep. And it's definitely gotten to the point where it's spoiled us, where it's like traveling,
Yeah.
you notice the difference.
Yep.
But yeah, I think, Eight Sleep is tagged on X and even YouTube, and also Mateo's handle is tagged there as well. And then we also at least dropped a comment here in on the X stream to go and just check out Eight Sleep and get a discount with the TOSV discount link and code. But thank you, Matteo, so much for innovating and hustling on this. I think, like I said, it's been a game changer for me. It's one thing you don't really think you need. It's like, oh, let me just go upgrade my mattress, and you go spend several extra thousands of dollars for just more comfort or more foam, and it really you kind of just get the same amount of sleep as some of the other like lower inches, like 4 inches versus 10, right? And so it's been for me, my wife and I, we're sleeping so much better. We're getting the stats every single morning and a rating on, things that went well and things that can improve on, right? And so it's just been a game changer for us. So everyone, please, make sure to give Matteo a follow if you want to just follow along his journey. It sounds like he's all over the place, 250 days a year. But also, follow Eight Sleep as well. And also too, just make sure to check out some of their announcements that they have. I think you mentioned today and then in the coming months. So sounds like a lot of exciting stuff, especially, I'm excited to see, how, the pod continues to grow, but also too, what's the Model 3 look like? That's going to be really exciting.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining, Mateo.
Have a good week, everyone. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.